Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Event Manager Podcast by Skipped Meetings. I am Senior Editor Andrea Doyle, and I am delighted to have you join us as we focus on the Marriott International and Groups360 launch of instant booking for Marriott's portfolio of hotels in the United States and Canada. Marriott International is the first brand to have a direct integration with Groups360 to offer the instant book functionality for both guest rooms and meeting space at scale on GroupSync Marketplace, providing planners with a streamlined booking process at the click of a button. I am joined by Kemp, CEO of Groups360, and Drew Pinto, Global Officer, Global Sales, Distribution, and Revenue Management, Marriott International. We talk about how a more dynamic meeting and event space means it's more important than ever to simplify the meeting and event booking experience for group customers. Marriott International's new instant booking solution for meetings and events with Groups360, planners will be able to significantly cut back on time spent booking group guest rooms and meeting space for events, while also gaining access to real-time rates and availability for small meetings across participating Marriott hotels in the United States and Canada. I am joined by Kemp, CEO of Groups360, and Drew Pinto, Global Officer, Global Sales, Distribution, and Revenue Management, Marriott International.
Now for a word from our sponsors, PHL Life Sciences, a division of the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau. Host your convention or trade show in Philadelphia, one of America's leading life sciences hubs. PHL Life Sciences, the first and only CVB division of its kind, will connect you to the professionals at the forefront of your industry and to a culture you can only find in Philadelphia. A city known for its rich history that's forging a bright future, Philadelphia challenges the expected and defies convention. A world of discovery is waiting. Visit phlife.com to learn more.
Today, I am joined by Kemp, CEO of Groups360, and Drew Pinto, Global Officer, Global Sales, Distribution, and Revenue Management for Marriott International. Kemp, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about how you became CEO of Groups360?
Yeah, thank you. Kemp Gallineau, President and CEO for Groups360. Scarily about 31 years now in the hospitality business, with the first 21 of those spent with a variety of brands and big hotels. Last 11 with a company called Gallineau Entertainment, who was highly focused on group business as they grew that company. My last 3 years with Gallineau Entertainment, I was Chief Sales Officer. And one of the things we identified was the group sales process, and could we streamline that and make it better? And making it better, was not only about, cutting cost of sales, but also thinking about the journey a customer had to go to do business with us, and how can we streamline that? So fast forward 2012, Marriott takes over the management of the Gaylord assets. The assets spin off and become a REIT now known as Ryman Hospitality. So you wake up and go, what do you want to do with your life? And myself and the co-founders said, hey, we kind of think we know a little bit about group space. What can we do to help the industry that we love and, that we've been part of for so many years? And so we took on the challenge of trying to streamline the group booking process. So we started that in 2014. Fast forward to now, 2023, and we have a big announcement with Marriott that we tried, and Drew will testify to this, that many years to try to get them to get on. But quite honestly, the product and really what we were doing hadn't evolved enough to truly drive differentiation for the customer. And when I talk about the customer, I mean not only the planner, but in a marketplace, you also have to make it easy for the supplier to engage. And so here we are, 9 years later, we're excited. Big day for us at Groups360, and with our partnership with Marriott. So Drew?
Great. Thank you, Kemp. So my name is Drew Pinto. So I lead global sales, distribution, and revenue management at Marriott. What that basically entails is I lead most of the top line functions at the company to help drive demand for our hotels. So I have the pleasure of leading our global sales team, which includes my involvement with the group space quite a bit, revenue management, so all pricing, inventory policies and systems across the company, distribution, so all our third-party channels and all the relationships we have there, our customer engagement centers, and also our planning and services team. And next week is my 19-year anniversary at Marriott. So I've had a career that's really flying by at the company, and couldn't be happier to be here today.
Wow. And obviously we have big news today. So I was hoping, Kemp, you could tell us a little bit about today's news.
Well, today's news, I think, marks a landmark for group booking. And what I mean by that is it's the first time an actual planner or an organizer, whether you're professional or non-professional, can go onto a site and actually choose to book rooms in space, to include catering and equipment online without having to send an RFP. And so you think about what that means and the complexity it took for working with partners like Marriott and Groups360 to be able to bring that content forward in a digital platform to make it available to the consumer. Because all those systems are separate. Where rooms is kept from an inventory perspective, it's different than space, and it's different than some of the catering things. So the teams at Groups360 and Marriott have been working on this for quite some time, and we're excited to finally bring it to the consumer and allow the consumer to use it so we can continue to evolve that process.
Okay. And Drew, what does this mean, this new partnership mean to Marriott?
We're very excited about it because we are convinced this really addresses a key pain point for our customers. The reason we got involved with Groups360 at the beginning and even kind of in this space altogether is because it's one of those experiences where nobody's happy. Right. So the customer isn't happy. The hotels aren't happy. Everyone finds this to be a very painful process that takes a long time to get the information that you need and book it. And particularly when you get to small, simple meetings, our customers have told us resoundingly, can we please just find out what's available, what rates you're charging? Can we book it? We want to move forward. We want to get our event planned, and the visibility and the content and just understanding what you're offering is very hard to find. Behind the scenes, for our hotels, this is a lot of work. A small meeting, a large meeting, while they're not exactly the same, you'd be surprised by how much work it takes and how similar that is, despite the size of the meeting. And so we got into this saying, there's got to be a better way, right? And, what is our customer looking for? What can we do from a process and technology and experience standpoint to make this just much more seamless, make it easier for the customer to do business with us when they're clearly showing intent and interest and they can't get done what they want to get done, and we want to put them in our hotels. So what today really means is, as Kemp said, is we're taking the first steps in trying to change the industry here and really trying to change the way a customer shops and books for these types of meetings. And we're very excited. We've been talking to our customers, to some of our most loyal meeting planners about this. They've seen some demos. They're really excited about it and really think that it's going to meet their needs and kind of answer those key pain points that they've been raising to us.
Which brings up the question, what do you define a small meeting as?
Yeah, so our scope when we talk about instant booking here, so what a customer will find when they go on Groups 360 is it is 25 sleeping rooms and 50 people peak.
Okay.
So that's what a small meeting is. And then of course the requisite meeting space to accommodate a group of that size. So anything above that won't be instantly bookable, or you go through the RFP process through Groups 360, but that's what we've defined as small for now. And, when we got into this, with Kemp's help and also talking to our customers, there's no clear definition. It's there's some stuff there that's, that's been programmed in systems for the past 30 years about how groups work. And it's not 100% clear, but as we talked to everyone, we said, this feels like it's a reasonable place to start. And then if we see behavior change and people are willing to book groups that are larger than that, or maybe there's some groups that don't work that way. We'll make some changes as we go. But for now, that's how we've defined it.
And what Marriott properties is it available in?
So that for the instant booking capability right now, it's about 1,500 hotels.
Okay.
But we're going to rapidly expand that number. So, we're launching, and then we expect more and more hotels to sign up for that. Outside the US, it's going to be the RFP process. There's a lot of inner workings behind the scenes with our different systems that make it a little harder for us to do instant booking on day one, but we're going to be working towards that as well. But just about all our hotels in our portfolio will be available through an RFP process on Groups 360.
Kemp, can you explain a little bit about how Groups 360 connects with Marriott systems to make this happen?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important because it's a direct connect through APIs. And I think, that's partly why it's taking so long to bring a platform like this forward to the consumer, is because if you made it manual, you really didn't help the customer. Someone was still doing the work behind the scenes. And so we worked really hard with Marriott to create APIs that directly connect to the system. So the timeliness even of an RFP response is much quicker, and the ability to direct book and deplete that inventory so that hotel didn't have to do any work on the backside. And so and again, kind of to go off what Drew was saying, part of what we've done is create a platform. And as trust and confidence grows, much like you've seen in other online platforms, whether it's Zillow, whether it's, buying cars now, consumers get more comfortable with the transparency and the way it works. And quite honestly, we get better at it, right? As consumers give us feedback and we really understand what their needs are and how they transact online, we're going to get better. And the better we get, potentially, maybe it grows or maybe it goes a different direction. But I think what's exciting is it's available, and both Marriott and Groups 360 are going to learn from the consumer the way they use it.
Okay.
And what it means for us, because they're directly connecting to basically our sales and catering system, and then also our lead management process, is that for instant booking, the customer is going to get the rates and availability that's available, right? It's the same thing that we would look at, our customer service team would look at, and our sales team would look at internally. And then for the RFP process, it basically circumvents a few internal steps that we have to do, like manual steps we have to do. And what that means for the customer is just faster response time. It's going to, the salesperson is going to be alerted and going to be able to work on that opportunity quite quickly. Whereas today, through other channels, there's still manual entry and lead management that has to happen. Despite some automation we put in, it's still quite a laborious process.
Okay. I think it's important to understand the simplicity of the technology and the breadth of the inventory and the partners that Groups 360 has. Kemp, can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, well, I think currently now on the system, we have the ability to send RFPs to over 200,000 hotels worldwide. Over the next few months, we expect to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 hotels, mainly in the US and Canada, that will be able to have online inventory bookable. And what I mean by that is either booking group rooms, group space, rooms in space together, because there are components that are available. And we found customers that are also just looking to book meeting rooms. So you have the ability to do those combinations. So it continues to grow. We currently now have 7 brands worldwide that are providing inventory to us, either rooms in space, or both. And we expect to expand that in 2023 to 3 or 4 more brands that will come on board. And what's important about that, when you create a marketplace, we need to have enough diversity and coverage of assets so that planners, professional or non, have enough confidence to transact in that marketplace. Much like you would do if you were looking to buy shoes or something on Amazon, you want to see enough variety so that you get comparison capabilities, so that you can fulfill your needs for whatever event you're holding. So again, really, really excited about the direct book, again, to Drew's point, for the small meeting. And that's really alleviating a lot of the pain points for both sides of the equation, the planner and the hotel. And obviously recognizing that it's going to take a while to change the behavior for those people that are used to sending RFPs. And we don't want to discourage those people from using the platform and getting comfortable with the new information and content that's available to them.
And Drew, what Marriott products will the product be available in? What brands?
So it will be for instant booking. Out of the 1,500, we have representation from most of our brands.
Okay.
But it may not be like in certain markets right now, critical mass of one specific brand, but certainly of our portfolio. But as I said, that's going to quickly expand, and we should have all brand coverage in the US and Canada. For the RP flow, though, that has just about all our hotels. There's a few outliers always, but just about all our hotels globally. So all brands will be included.
Okay. As the industry continues to evolve, what would new or enhanced products look like?
Are you ready to celebrate your successes in the world of meetings and events? The Skift Meetings Awards are back for 2024, recognizing the most innovative business events companies across 15 categories, and we want you to be a part of it. Winners will feature on Skift Meetings, sending a clear signal to events professionals around the world that these are partners they can rely on. The final deadline for submissions is June 11th. We encourage you to start your submission today to secure the best entry rates. For more information and to start your submission, head to live.skift.com.
Kemp, you want to take that one first? And I can chime in.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, I think, what we've learned is as we speculated on what is important to customers, and I think to Drew's point, we spent a lot of time listening to them. One of the things we recognize is sometimes we lack the imagination for the possible. So there are a lot of people out there doing great things. And I would argue, space is kind of the final frontier. Rooms inventory seems simple, but when you start looking at meeting space and the logistics of getting comfortable once you get past one or two bookings, and what I mean by that is one or two spaces, there are lots of people working on how to make customers feel good about that and how to plan that event. I think content is king, and being able to serve up content to a customer in the way they want to use it. Because to Drew's point, the process behind the scenes for a small meeting and a big meeting may be the same, but what I want is different. And so how do we eliminate clicks? How do we, if it takes 10 clicks today, how to in the future can we make it 5 clicks so that you can book a meeting? And I think what we're working on and what we're very diligent about in our partnership is making it better. And better is kind of a relative term, but if we stay focused on that and keeping it simple and driving that, then the customer is going to guide us, right? They're going to guide us down what's important to them. So I think there's great technology out there. The real opportunity in group that's somewhat a little bit different than leisure is how do you combine that into one journey so that my whole journey to book this meeting or event is very effective and efficient going forward. Drew?
Yeah, and I totally agree with what you said. And then I would add, I think we're going to look to see what parts of the customer experience for a smaller meeting that they're saying then they have to go somewhere else to do, or they have to still do it manually. So like the adjacencies. So for example, they may say, okay, I'm gonna book rooms and space here. I booked my 25, person meeting here, and I got that covered. But then the food and beverage piece and registration and things to do in the area, additional content of how we can educate the hotel, even things like then making sure they're in our loyalty program so we can activate the on-property experience that we want for our Bonvoy members, and things like mobile check-in and mobile ordering in the hotel. You put all those things together, and we want the customer to be able to say, oh, you've thought about all those needs I have, and this product can help with all those things. And some of those things that Kemp can speak to it more than I can, but there's investments happening and product development happening with adjacent products like that to help. But that's what we're looking for. We acknowledge a really big group, like, some of the groups we do, they can be 7 figures in terms of the total cost, right? These are huge conventions that are coming in. That's a very complex sale. That's not what we're talking about here, right? That's going to be a multi-month negotiation and figuring out all the details. But if you have one of these meetings, which is really still the bulk and the majority of what we all do in the industry, you have one of these meetings and you talk to the customer and they're like, I have a few considerations that I need to have covered. But the basics are what I need. I need to know rate, states, and space. Is this the right hotel for me? Are my attendees going to be happy? Are you going to make me look good, right? As the meeting planner, and make sure that this thing goes flawlessly. And we think the first steps in that process could be made much more efficient and easier for the customer. And then it gets handed off to the hotel, and all the things that they're used to working with Marriott, that all still happens, right? And that manager works with you. We make darn sure that, all those special requirements that you have, the acknowledgement, the welcome gifts, you name it, right? Like that all still happens. It's just those first steps in the process. The customer's like, why are you making me fill out this kind of form online? I send it in, and then I wait 3 days to find out, even if to where I should consider putting this event, in 9 months' time. We think the digital experience can just revolutionize that. And that's what we're doing here. That's what today really means for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, Drew, great point. And I think another thing to kind of walk away with is, there's so much focus on the planner and the planner's success that at some point in time, an attendee turns into a guest. And although we're part of an event, we still want to be recognized as individuals. And to your point, that's part of the success of the planner. And so I think when you look downstream at what that means is I attend the meeting and it's Drew's meeting. I still want to be identified as Kemp because I have envoy points, or I have, certain things that are important for me when I attend these things. And I think as we go downstream, it's going to make everyone more successful. So I think great points.
Okay. And with so many companies working remotely and I'm working from home, smaller meetings are more important than ever, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And we see it in the trends in terms of kind of recovery from the pandemic, but then also, some of the patterns we're seeing. We have a whole new area of demand, which is exactly what you said, right? So everything from remote workers needing to get together. We've heard some of our big consulting customers, they may not go to the client site sometimes, but they'll actually come to one of our hotels and get a meeting room so they can all work together on the project. There's anecdotes like that all over the place among our customers. So this is very timely. As Kemp said, it took us a while. So we had a pandemic hit, and then we had quite a complex integration to do. But we wanted to make sure we did it right and that the customer has a good experience when they use it. But you're right. I feel the timing is very good because the demand is there, and these small meetings are really driving a lot of the recovery.
Right. Kemp, would you like to address that, the importance of small meetings today?
I agree. I think it was probably there before, but I think COVID and some of the other things brought it to the forefront. Like everything else in life, sometimes we focus on the big ones and forget that 80% of what we do is the smaller ones. I think we have yet to learn exactly what's happened. And I think bringing this onto a platform that we can all learn will also show that there are probably different ways that people can use this platform to fulfill those needs that are very short term and very localized by nature, which I think Drew was speaking to. So I think it's exciting for the industry and Marriott to reach forward and say, Mr. and Mrs. Planner, we've heard what your needs are. Here's a place to start, and let's kind of grow together as we go through the next phase of groups and needs.
And what I'm hearing you both say, this is a product that's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of technology, right? And the beauty of partnerships. We want to be the best in class at group technology and support the people that need that. And Drew wakes up in the morning trying to get customers to come to his hotels and make that as simple and easy as possible. So I think that partnership's great alignment, not only for us as individuals and companies, but for the industry itself.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's we're excited about this partnership because Kemp and his team are going to be able to see cross-brand, cross competitor, how the customer is behaving that we obviously won't be able to see. But we have all these very strong customer relationships, whether they're big accounts or smaller accounts or individual bookers, that we also are tapping into to get feedback. Even though we've been very focused on today's launch, we've already started to do, I mentioned demos and reviewing things like, for example, some of our biggest accounts, and already have a list of their feedback of things that they like it, but they're like, we would like to see this and this and this. And to make it even better and even better. We're already talking to Kemp and his team about the roadmap and other enhancements we can make, because we realize that we're launching with something that is a very informed product, and we feel good about it, but that we also know that's a starting point, and we're going to learn, because this is a somewhat new space in the meetings and events world, of doing things online and being able to do things digitally. And so we know we're going to discover quite a bit.
Okay. In your opinions, how have you seen the role of the CMP change, and how does that matter to you both?
I guess I'll start, Drew. I think, like with any provider of service, as technology is available, you get new tools, right? And how you use them to recreate value or add value to your proposition to consumers, how you do it. I mean, you think of Zillow and the realtor, and you think of Carvana and the car dealer. Everyone's figured out a way to use that technology to add value to the consumer. And so I think, it changes, but I think it can be supportive as it is anything else. There's availability. Where do I, back to Drew's original point, if I'm not spending time on the small meetings because they can be booked, can I add more value to the larger meetings that we know are more complex and need some more detail associated with that? So I think it's all complementary to the industry and complementary to anyone in the industry that's trying to add value to the journey between planning the meeting and booking the meeting and then executing.
Okay.
Yeah, I also think I believe it's going to help with visibility. There's a lot of kind of unmanaged or unplanned meetings and events activity that happens today, right? Because it's such a manual process, right? Someone just calls the hotel, and the hotel, works with that individual. I know some of our big corporate customers have talked to us about, well, this might give you very better visibility, because let's say like all the different department heads and admins who do different meetings, if they use this tool, we'll have better visibility as a strategic meetings planning department of everything that's happening. And so we think that there's some benefit there. But as Kemp said, there's a role to play for professionals here, and places where they want to spend their time to add the most value, and trying to find availability for, a 15-room group as a first step in the process is not one of them. They just want to find that as quickly as possible, and then work, through the content to try to figure out the best hotel for them. And so we just think this will help them then kind of refocus their efforts on things that really are more complex and provide more value.
Well, those were all the questions I had. Anything else you would like to tell me about this new product and this exciting news?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we're extremely excited, and it's the beginning. And we look forward as partners to bring new products and features that continue to make it easier to do business and streamline the process and add value to both the planner and the attendee in the future.
Yeah, and I would just add, I would love, step one is we want customers to try this, right? And also give us feedback, because again, we put a lot of diligence into this of a product that we feel confident is going to meet their needs, is going to work. But as we talked about in this podcast, this is the starting point. So we really encourage customers to try it out, right? To use the platform, and then give us feedback on what you liked, what you didn't, what we can improve. We're all about making their lives easier, and also, of course, driving more conversion for Marriott hotels. And we don't want things to get in the way of that, the things that we could fix and address through this platform. So just excited that we're at this stage, and that we can now get to the point where customers can come try this and start using it, and then let us know what they think.
And where would be the best place for people to offer feedback?
We have the ability at Groups360.com to offer feedback. And also by using GroupSync and signing up to use GroupSync, we have customer success agents that will be monitoring and polling customers based off their use and how far down the line they get in the booking process. So again, to Drew's point, we're set up to receive feedback as we go through, the next few months and into the future.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have, in addition to that, so for a lot of the individual customers to do that, we have our entire sales force in the starting gate ready to launch, like as soon as I'm done with this podcast, to go talk to all our customers, and they're going to have feedback mechanisms throughout all that. They want them to try it, let us know what works, what doesn't. We're going to have a whole process to gather that feedback back centrally, so I can see it and we can address points. We're going to share that with Kemp and his team. So we're really ready to go. We feel like we have our bases covered, and if we don't, we'd love to hear from customers, reaching out to us to say, that they're finding it hard to get us feedback, and we'll come up with another way to help with that as well.
And anything else you want planners to know?
I think Drew said it best. Come and kick the tires, give it a try.
Perfect.
Yeah. Nothing else from me. Just excited. I think we have a vision of how this whole space and this whole process could improve, and we're really looking forward to see what our customers think and how this develops.
Well, Kemp, Drew, it's been great, and I really appreciate your time, and I wish you much success with this new product.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks for taking the time.
Yes, thank you so much for the time.
Oh, my pleasure.